For decades, audiences around the world have recognized that voice instantly. Calm, powerful, unmistakable. A voice that could turn even the simplest sentence into something unforgettable. But behind the legendary narration and the iconic performances lies a story that very few people have ever heard. Because sometimes the most meaningful moments in a life filled with fame are the ones that never make headlines. And now, at 91 years old, Morgan Freeman has begun reflecting on a memory from his early years in Hollywood, a story he rarely spoke about before. To understand why it mattered so much, you have to go back long before the fame. Morgan Freeman was born in 1937 in Memphis. His childhood was shaped by frequent moves across the American South as his family searched for work. Life wasn't glamorous, and acting was hardly considered a practical path. Yet from an early age, Freeman discovered something powerful about performance. Teachers later remembered a young boy who loved reading aloud in class. There was something about his voice even then that captured attention. But despite his talent, the road toward acting would take time. After high school, Freeman joined the United States Air Force, where he initially planned to become a fighter pilot. But during those years, he began realizing that his true passion wasn't flying. It was storytelling. When he eventually left the military, Freeman moved to pursue acting seriously. The early years were far from easy. Like many aspiring actors in the 1960s and 70s, he struggled to find consistent work. For a long time, success felt distant. He performed in small theater productions and took television roles when they appeared. One of his earliest recognitions came from the educational children's show The Electric Company, where he introduced young audiences to his charisma and unmistakable voice. But Hollywood stardom still seemed far away. That finally began to change decades later. In 1989, Freeman delivered a powerful performance in Driving Miss Daisy, earning international acclaim and his first Academy Award nomination. Soon after, roles in films like The Shawshank Redemption and Say Seven cemented his place among Hollywood's most respected actors. Yet according to people who worked with him over the years, Freeman never forgot the difficult road that came before. And that brings us to the story he has quietly reflected on in later interviews. Many believe it happened during the years when he was still struggling to find his place in the industry. According to accounts shared over time, Freeman once attended a small audition early in his career, one that didn't seem particularly important at the time. The room was quiet. The producers uncertain. The competition intense. By the end of the audition, he reportedly believed he had failed. But as he prepared to leave, one person in the room made a simple comment that stayed with him for decades. "Don't change that voice." Those words, according to stories Freeman later shared, became something of a turning point. At a time when many actors were encouraged to reshape their identities to fit Hollywood expectations, someone had recognized the very thing that made him unique. And that moment stayed with him. Over the years, Freeman's voice would become one of the most recognizable in the world. He would narrate documentaries, portray wise mentors, and deliver performances that carried both authority and warmth. Looking back now, it's clear that the qualities that once made him uncertain became the very traits that defined his legacy. Today, Morgan Freeman's career spans generations of cinema. Actor, narrator, storyteller, a voice that helped shape some of the most beloved films in modern history. And perhaps the lesson hidden in that quiet story is simple. Sometimes the thing that makes us different is the very thing that leads us to greatness. What do you think about Morgan Freeman's incredible journey and the story behind his voice? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more cinematic documentaries about the untold stories behind Hollywood legends.